Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast is the Darkest Timeline, and it's a bit of a doozy this week. It's a bit of a bumper one. It's even got a cough at the start. Plenty to go through, lots to talk about. Went to an awards evening, a couple of trips to fast food restaurants, the illusion of fast food restaurants, trying to deal with parenting things. I've got some TV to talk about, a few quick movie things, however, a fairly big movie review. Find out what I think of Superman 2025 in this episode. Computer games, both flat and VR, and then we're out. However, apparently that took an hour and 20 minutes to get through, so there was obviously plenty to be going on with. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. If you haven't done those things already, well, please do. Obviously the biggest one is sharing the podcast around. That's the one we love the most, so please consider doing that one. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline. Hello! Honestly, if I don't get this started, I'm never going to, because it's nearly 10 o'clock at night at this point. And it's not absolutely nothing to do with procrastination. It is literally, this is the first point in time I've been able to get started. He lies. How you doing? You well? You good? Living life, living large. Oh, I didn't. I usually like a little sippy sip before I start. God damn, that's good. All the wonderful noises. I should do in ASMR. Still not super sure what that actually is. But anyway, I hope you're well. I hope you're having a good time. And if you're not, send me a message. I'll get back to you. This week is another one of those where I go, was that only a week ago? Fuck, bro. That was a million years ago. So, let's jump back a million years and see if we can bring it up to current. Last Tuesday, which nearly a week ago, so yeah, it was a while back. I was personally invited to go to my eldest daughter's school to see her receive an award, which in hindsight was great because she had absolutely no idea that I, or in fact her sister, were there. So, you know, worth it. But from my perspective, I got to see my daughter get an award. My daughter has achieved an award in the sense of she has achieved highly this year. She has ended the year just short of double the points that she needs, as well as a load of, I believe they're called accolades on the old Appomabob. And yeah, for a year at school, has absolutely crushed it. So I am absolutely, where possible, going to go and celebrate that. So that's what we did. I took my youngest daughter with me because she loves a road trip. You'll find out why shortly. Absolutely got stung on that one. And off we toddled, and we sat, not the biggest school, which, not gonna lie, kind of like. I honestly think there's like 300 kids or something, 350 kids in the whole school. When I was at secondary school, there was 350 kids in my year. So a bit of a contrast. What I will say is that I did feel a lot like all of her year were there to receive an award, which made it feel a little bit less special than I thought it was going to. However, you know, we've got to celebrate these things. And that's what we did. And it was a nice time. There was a little taste of some singing in the middle. My daughter was towards the end, which kind of nice because they were doing 2 years. So I knew we had to sit through the next year where we had no contact at any point of contact with the next year up. So it was a bit like just sit and wait kind of situation. It was great to see her get an award. Like I say, she had absolutely zero clue that we were there. That was kind of that. So, there we go. I was going to go in depth into one of the children who received 7 awards, and how, on one hand, for that child's parents, it must be great to watch their child go up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down to the stage to receive multiple rewards. On the other hand, it got a bit oppressive after a while. I think you could feel the audience were a little bit like, the fuck are we doing here? How about you get her up, give her all of the awards in one go, and send her on her way? So yeah, a bit of a weird one. Now then, there was a point where a mistake was made. Somebody gave credit where credit was not due. The drama! At these things, any sort of school event these days, there's always an opportunity to try and sell something. It's always for charity, but as you know what they say, charity starts in mi casa. So, yeah, it always feels a bit like, oh, we're selling this so that whatever reason. And obviously I've spoken at length about other things like this where I feel it's a little bit bordering on scam. So there are times when I have a tendency to not bother. The last time we went to something at the school, they had all this stuff on, and I did take my youngest daughter, and she was like, can I get something? And I was like, to be honest, you've come with me. Yes, you can get something. She ate this massive hot dog. It was hilarious. She talks about it all the time. Job done. This time they had to correct that they'd given credit to the wrong bakery for providing the cakes. So it went like this. Just wanted to correct a little piece of information that was incorrectly given. The cakes are not this evening provided by this bakery. They are provided by this bakery. Both bakeries are very good, and we thank them for their support. Don't forget to get yourself a cake before you leave. And I went, shit. As I felt 2 small eyes slowly turn to look at me, and I pretended that I couldn't see them. And then next thing, Daddy. Yes, I'm hungry. That's interesting because you ate an entire meal before we got here. You brought a pack up, which was your tea, and was a full-blown meal. Full-blown 9-course meal. Like I say, it was a pack up, so it was like a sandwich and some crisps, and it just went on and on and on and on and on. So, for you to tell me here and now that you're hungry, I find that hard to believe. I think you heard the word cake and went, absolutely going to get a cake. I was like, oh, how come you're hungry? Oh, I just am. All right. She mentions it again before we're finished. Daddy, I'm hungry. I was like, oh, right, okay. Maybe we should look at getting a cake. I was like, oh, well, did you come up with that one on your own, did you? As we're leaving, there's a big old, like, milling around in the entrance hall, and I look over at the cake table, and they've got, like, 4 buns and a queue. So I'm like, yeah, we're not getting one of those 4 cakes because there's too many people in front of us. Absolutely no point. Managed to get her out the building without any mention of cake until we got out of the school grounds, and she's like, we didn't get a cake. I was like, we wouldn't have got one. There was a big queue and they didn't have any left. Oh. But I'm really hungry. Like, you're really hungry after eating all that food an hour ago. Yeah, I'm really hungry. I was like, oh, wow, I tell you, that's real unfortunate, is that? Wow, God. Oh. What could we do about that? Almost already knowing the answer. Well, there's a McDonald's. Yeah, there is. We could go there. I'm like, what are you going to get at McDonald's an hour after you would normally be in bed? What is it that you're going to achieve at this point in time? Well, I could just get some mozzarella sticks. There's me, dumbass, old dum-dum over here. Like, I mean, is that really the worst thing? Should have been in bed an hour ago. It was going to take us half an hour to get home. We've had a bit of an adventure. We like a little road trip. Yeah, she had a couple of things. I think she had like a cake and a hot dog the last time we went. Yeah, it's a bit of a thing. Oh, okay, I tell you what. I was like, oh, I know. I was like, what do you think Mummy would say about this? Because Mummy did you that lovely pack up, didn't she? And do you think she would want you going to McDonald's this time? Oh, we could ask her. Like, yeah, I guess so. So I ring and I'm like, I'm being told I have to take this child to McDonald's, thinking that Leanne would be like, absolutely not. Leanne obviously then is like, I mean, yeah, I guess. If that's what you guys want to do, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Right, okay, we're off to McDonald's. By this point, we were there, so it was already happening. So we go in, and I'm like, oh, right, well, you just want some mozzarella sticks. Okay, all right then. Yeah, they haven't got any mozzarella sticks. It's not on the menu. Can't see it anyway. Oh, right. I was like, maybe you just get some, like, I don't know, like some chips or something. Oh, yeah, I'll just get my usual. I'm like, what usual? Thinking, I mean, when she's been to McDonald's in the past, she gets like a Happy Meal with like, it's like fish fingers and chips, and I'm sure there's like something else. And I was like, she can't mean like a full blown freaking meal. Yeah, I'll just get like the fish fingers, the meal. I'm like, you can't have a freaking full blown meal at 8:00 at night. Are you crazy? I thought we were coming for mozzarella sticks, which they don't have, so we should leave. I'll just get the fish fingers meal. I sense immediately this is a battle that I am not winning, and the fastest way to get through this and get us home is to just cave. Yes, bad parenting. I've entered a phase in my life called pick your battles. And honestly, it's making for a little bit more of a smooth sailing. So I'm sticking with it for now. I went, right, fine, whatever, let's just get it. Also, the fuck do you mean also? There's no fucking also in this conversation. Did you say they had halloumi fries on the menu? I'm like, whether I did or not, you are getting a meal, and chips is part of the meal. You don't need halloumi fries. I'll just get some halloumi fries as well. Fucking whatever. Put all the orders together. I do it all on the machine because obviously you can't order from a person these days. Heavens forbid. Put it all into the machine. Did all the stuff. Pressed all the buttons. Did all the things. It came to tell me the amount, and I went, have I put 2 down or 4 or something? The fuck is this number? It's like 13 quid or something. I'm like, the fuck's... I've clearly done something wrong. I'm looking at the thing and it's like 1 Happy Meal with a toy, 1 halloumi fries, which I think there were 4, like 13 quid. I'm just like, the fuck? At this point in time, my concern is getting done and getting home. I pay the money thinking, what? And then we go and stand in the non-existent queue because nobody's there. It's 8 o'clock at night. It's a McDonald's that's essentially part of a service station, but like a mini one. It's got like a petrol station and a McDonald's. And thus begins the wait. Now, as I said to my daughter, who, partway through the time of us standing there, commented on just how long we'd been stood there, I said, in their defence, they probably didn't expect to be cooking a Happy Meal at 8 o'clock at night. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. I think at the point in time that we started closing in on like 15 minutes, I was like, putting the fast in fast food. Now, this is nothing new. Many people all over the internet for a long time now have been commenting on a couple of things around the way things have changed. Firstly, fast food is not affordable anymore by any stretch of the imagination. There is no world where these fast food chains, the ones I'm talking about. I've already mentioned one. I'm going to go on to mention another, and then there are a multitude of others. I'll tell you part of a story that I believe I've discussed in the past. There was a time I took one of my children and two or three of their friends to a particular restaurant, and they all ordered food like they've never been fed in their lives and were never going to be fed again. That's how they ordered the food. The food came. It was horrifically bad service. Food came out at different times, at different temperatures. It was fucking awful. And it is the second most expensive meal I've ever paid for in my life. And I, on that day, vowed to never go back. And as it stands at this point in time, I've never been back. So, fast food, gone. It took so fucking long to get this food. I honestly thought about cutting my losses and just going to say to them, I can't wait half an hour for a child's meal. I appreciate you didn't think you'd be cooking a child's meal at this point in time, but I can't wait this long. At which point I became very quickly aware that they weren't just making one Happy Meal, they were making a second one because one of the kids that had been at this awards thing was there getting food. I'm like, now you're fucked, aren't you? Because if you weren't prepared to make one, you damn sure weren't prepared to make two. Fast food, no siree, Bob. Affordable? Fuck no. If you have ever had I don't know what to call it. If you've ever been in a situation where you've seen American TV, whether like me, you watch the NFL, or whether you've been to America and watched TV, or anything like that, and you've caught any of their fast food chain adverts, that shit is dirt cheap. Like, so cheap, it's you just can't comprehend it. Apparently, we didn't get the message, and we are charging insane money for not fast food. At one point, I turned around and went, I don't believe that this is what Michael Keaton had in mind, which was a founder joke, if anybody gets that one. Honestly, just insane. Like the two keystones of that business model out the fucking window. Anyway, got our food and off we told her, and she ate the whole lot. I had to pry a halloumi fry off her. That's not true, but I did take one. And I was like, I'm going to give this a whirl. Because at one point she was like, oh, do you want some? I was like, I don't eat McDonald's food. I don't eat McDonald's food. I don't drink McDonald's drinks because I used to. And then one time I had what I believe was possibly undercooked McDonald's chips. I believe that's what the situation was. I believe that they were potentially undercooked. And ever since then, if I eat anything and also drink anything from McDonald's, it makes me wildly unwell. It's very strange. Something to maybe ponder on if you are a McDonald's eater. I normally don't go into detail about these places, like I usually say, a famous fast food restaurant, the one with the clown. But this is not the only fast food place I will be discussing this fine day. So a little bit of clarification. And honestly, like McDonald's give a flying fuck what I think. They're a multi-billion-dollar corporation who gives two flying fucks about what I think. So, to my youngest daughter with me on this road trip. Been spending quite a bit of time trying to help my youngest daughter with a few problems and issues and things that she's had. She said something to me on my birthday. She did that. Daddy, who's your favourite child? I was like, the well-behaved one. She was like, I think. And then she was like saying that like my eldest was my favourite. And then she was saying that my son was my favourite, and that my middle daughter was my favourite, and basically everybody but her. And I was like, why are you not on that list? Why wouldn't you say that you were the favourite? She was like, I'm the worst. And I was like, don't ever say that. And heartbreaking sort of things like that. And I was like, right, this needs to stop. There's been this sort of thing sort of building for a long time. I had a conversation with a teacher at one point. I was just going through a lot of stuff with like various different people, and I always talk about the fact that she is the definition of the child that never adjusted to a sibling. Irony being is there were two siblings before she even got here, so handles them fine. Never adjusted to a younger sibling, and never has. And she loves and adores her younger sibling. It's not about that. That's not the issue. It's not like she doesn't get on with him. They get on like a house on fire. They're thick as thieves, especially when it's just the two of them. What she can't handle is everything outside of that. And I was like, I'm not okay with this. This is not okay. I see a lot of myself in her. And I'm like, I don't want you to be like me. I don't want you to turn out like me. I don't want you to experience things that I have and still experience. So I'm going to make it my job, my mission at the moment to sort this out. So, been spending a lot of time together, been doing a lot of activities, been doing things like this, going out, and we had a thing where she had her dance show, but then she wasn't in the rest of it, and then me and her did the second half together, and me and her, and there's been a lot of me and her. I've been talking to her a lot about, like how important she is and what she means, and what she means to me, and like me and Leanne, and how our lives changed and all of this, and just really sort of trying to get in, like talking to her before bed and being like, I had a really nice day today and we had a really good time and I really enjoyed spending time with you and you were great and and then she's had like some awards recently. It's like, oh, you got awards, oh, that's fantastic. And she went and got like 7 times more awards than any of the other children when she was at last Rainbows, and then there's me complaining about children at my eldest's award ceremony, saying, she must have done 10,000 steps just going to get her award. And then that was my child with a difference, and it's things like that. And there's been a lot of, it's kind of gone the other way as well. Like if I say, oh, I enjoyed our time today, she'd be like, I really enjoyed spending time with you. I like that you're my daddy. You're a good daddy, and it's like I've been really trying hard. I've been really working on being able to take a compliment, but sometimes I just can't. I just don't have it in me. I'm just not able or capable. So I end up being like, no, I'm not a good dad. The irony. And I really thought I was getting through, and I really thought I was helping, and I really thought that we were turning this corner, and then, God, I was like, I've cracked this one. I've done it. I've not won. I was about to say I've won. I've done it. I brought this one back from the brink. I had this whole thing with my son. My son's going through like all of these changes because he's like doing the toilet training, and it's a big thing and it's really hard and it's difficult, but he's doing really well with it and all this. But then at the same time he was having these issues with like going to bed, and he was up like 2-3 hours past bedtime, and I'm like, what is the reason for this? And then all of a sudden, some kind of like stroke of inspiration one night when I was putting him to bed, which is a rarity because he doesn't ever want me to. I just all of a sudden said to him, I was like, you do know that I'm just out here, because it was just me and him. I was like, I'll just be out here. If I put you to bed and you're in your bed, I'm going to be out here. I was like, I'll be hanging around waiting to make sure that you've gone to sleep. And he's like, you won't leave. I was like, of course I'm not going to leave. I was like, I might go downstairs. And like make some tea and sit down. But I won't leave. I will still be here. And if you need me, I'll come. He's like, you won't leave. You'll sit in the chair. And I was like, yeah, I'll probably, if I end up going downstairs, I'll go and sit on the sofa or in the chair, and I'll still be in the house, and I'll still hear you if need me. I was like, but for now, I'm going to be up here, making sure that you've gone to sleep. And he toddled off into his bedroom, and that was the last that was seen of him. And for the next few nights, it was like, all right, mate, don't worry. Right, we'll be here. We might be downstairs, but we'll still be in the house. And it's, touch wood, it solved everything. That was weeks ago. And I'm a bit like, I cracked that one. I did that one. That was me. I worked that one out. I worked out that he was scared, that he thought when the door shut that we all left, which, little minds and stuff. So I was like, I did that. I cracked that one. I cracked the code. And yeah, I so thought I was getting through to my daughter. I was like, we are vibing, we are crushing it. Daddy daughter team, we're bulletproof, we're unstoppable. I think she's great. She thinks I'm great. I keep saying to Lana, I was like, I'm having such a great time. I'm really enjoying this time. It's so great. And I'm getting through to her, and I tell her all the time how great she is and how well she's doing and all of this. And because it's me and her, there's like less of like me spending time with my son that she sees. So she sees I'm just spending this time with her. And I think I'm really getting through to her and really getting past her, cracking her. Yeah, it's great. And then just one day, she just completely reverted back to how she was before. And I was like, no, all my work, all my hard work. Oh no, all the time I've put. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And then I was like, we've now gone into the summer holidays. So the older children are here. The older two are here. And now, in some ways, I think she's a bit worse. And I'm like, no, I thought I'd done it. I thought I'd cracked. So, at the moment, I'm just killing everybody with kindness. At the moment, I'm doing the, like I say, I'm picking my battles, of which I think is actually another way of saying I'm just giving in to absolutely everything. Which, you know, I can sit here now and say to you, I know that is bad parenting. I just, like, especially because we've like tripped over into the summer holidays, and I've even said to the children, I'm like, I cannot go back to work needing a holiday. So something needs to happen between now and then where I don't go back to work exhausted. So let's just chill the fuck out. And I think part of that is me going, I am not prepared to have an argument with you about, you know, an ice cream. Because if you really think you need an ice cream right now, who am I to argue other than your parent? Yeah, I don't know. I made a substantial purchase recently. Now that is going to come as a shock to pretty much everybody. I am sure, especially with all of the many hours I've been spending recently talking about how I possibly have a shopping addiction. And yeah. Don't really know where to start with this one. We could tackle the shopping addiction, which I think I might have got on top of. Because we as a collective, as a family, as a unit, decided to ban all purchases of certain items in our house. So that was that. It's been going on a while now. We had to ban. I got into a habit of buying crisps when I wasn't eating. So then we just had crisps in the house and was like, oh, we got a lot of crisps. Nobody's eating them, but we've got them. If you need crisps, you come see me. So the realization that I don't need to buy those things because nobody eats them, that kind of stopped that. So then I started buying sweets because kids love sweets. So I was like, hey, do you want some sweets? They'd be like, yeah. So I buy them and I stick them in a drawer. So when couldn't get the drawer open or closed anymore, it was like, maybe somebody should eat some of these fucking sweets. Because that was the other side of it. Nobody ate anything. So that stopped. And the biscuits. Currently, it's protein. Anything protein based. Even though I saw a thing recently that was talking about how protein's a scam. Anything protein based, buy it. Then try and find somewhere to put it in the house, because there isn't anywhere. So there was that. So yeah. Then I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. And today I went in the fridge to find, ironically, a protein shake, and went, fuck, we haven't got any protein shakes. That's not true. That's an over-exaggeration. What I meant was, we don't have 10 protein shakes. I could only find 3. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting later in the week, isn't it? I consume about 3 a day at the moment. Different story. So, getting back to it, I made a large purchase. I have been saving up for the large purchase for, gonna say a year at this point. Gonna say a year and probably some change. I have been using birthday money more recently. I got a couple of bits of money, and I got some vouchers. The vouchers were able to be used for my large purchase. So I put all of my chips on red or black, whichever one you want to look at. Turned all of the money into vouchers. I also had put some money to one side. Same reason. And I'd been saving for basically a year. And when I say saving, I mean there's £4 I can put towards it. Oh, there's a tenner. And then every now and then it's like, I'm going to buy some vouchers, like 50 quid or something. So been saving for a year, and then realised that with my birthday money and an early anniversary gift, shall we say, I was able to cross the finish line. So, made a large purchase. And then, does anybody else do this? If you buy something that's big, like a big item, either it's an expensive item or it's a big item or both, you then start working through all of your regrets. But not just your regrets in buying it, your regrets in life. I can't believe I did that thing in 1998. It was that was terrible. And that led me to this decision right here and right now. Wow. How times have changed. Is that is that just a me thing? This relates to something that's coming up in I was about to say in a little bit, but it's next on the list. So let's talk about it. So there was the shopping issue, crisps, biscuits. These were all coping mechanisms while I was fasting. I seemed to do this thing where I was like, oh, I'm going to go and buy 10 big bags of lentil crisps. Because obviously you can eat those because they're high protein, low calorie, low fat, all that sort of stuff. But I did it when I wasn't eating. So I buy all these bags of crisps and then go okay, so not only am I not going to eat them, I've got nowhere to put them. So that stopped. Then I was getting boxes of broken biscuits. Didn't eat them. They ended up going stale, so we had to get rid of them. I got a box of broken biscuits at one point with the intention, my kids are we got you this so you can make us tiffin. And I was okay, that seems reasonable. Opened the box of broken biscuits and went, well, you shit out of luck here, aren't you, kids? Because these biscuits are awesome and definitely not the sort of thing you'd put in tiffin. So it's that sort of thing. And then I'm well, I'm not going to eat these. So I just give them to the kids. Oh, do you want one of Daddy's biscuits? Yeah, I want one of Daddy's biscuits. Why don't you have 2 if you want one? So the biscuit thing kind of came and went. Like I say, there's ban on sweets in the house. You can't buy any sweets, but you can eat sweets. So the kids are working through all these like various like pockets of sweets. Like, oh, here's a packet of sweets that's unopened. Get them open. Get them eaten when you have a treat. My son is like with his potty. We don't use that in this. With his toilet training. If he does like big toilet things, he's allowed to have a sweet. So we've been using that. And I know what you're thinking. Another terrible parenting practice, but he doesn't use it anywhere else, and he's still able to go to the toilet literally anywhere. So at the moment, not a problem. So I was saving all this money, putting money to one side. Any money that I got as a gift, I put into vouchers, so I made this big purchase. And I made the purchase, and all of a sudden I went, I don't need to buy anything anymore. And that was kind of that. That was kind of the end of it. Like, all of a sudden I was like, I am done now. So, that was interesting, but do we believe that? Well, something else that was very interesting happened, because one of the other things that I've been buying left, right and centre was games. Like an insane amount. A friend of mine sent me a website. He was like, here, this website will get you cheap games. And I was like, that sounds like a terrible idea. And it did. Like, insanely cheap games. Like, this company, who shall remain nameless, this company wants £40 for this game. Okay, what does the website want for it? £7. Well, then I'll have to buy it because that's a bargain. Obviously, we all know how much I love a bargain. So I was buying games like they were going out of fashion, never playing any of them. My favourite meme is my body is a machine. I have the ability to turn a 60% discount into 0 hours played. It is my absolute favourite meme because it is definitely me. So, I recently purchased a game, and I did a massive trade-in. I traded a load of old games that either I'd played and finished and weren't going to go back to anytime soon, or a load of PS4 games that I was like, I am not playing you right now. You don't need to be taking up shelf space in my house. You might as well go to a better home. So I bought 2 games. One of those games is Elden Ring, and one of them is Assassin's Creed Shadows. One was a trade-in, one was a purchase. The purchase was, I think Elden Ring was coming in at like £40. I think I paid 21 for it the first time. And I looked at how big both of these games were, and something in my brain went, oh, you don't need any more games now. And I was like, what, like not any of these cheap games? They're like, no, you don't need any more games. No more. And whereas I would spend like X amount of time looking on these different sites and looking at these different prices, and that one's really expensive there, but it's super cheap here. Oh my God, that game's... I just stopped. Like, I just don't even bother looking. Because I got an email a few days ago, and it was like, here's a discount. You can have 12% off a cheap game. And I went, oh, okay. I don't need any games. I'm good, thanks. A couple of days passed. I got another email. How about 11% off any game you want? I was like, oh, that's cool. That's 11%. That's good, and it's on, cheap games anyway. So that's a proper saving. I haven't even been to look at the games because I'm like, I don't need any games. I have these 2 games here in front of me, and these are all the games I need. And again, we will come on to talk about that a little bit further along, because you'll find the irony in what I've just said there. So, let's go back in time. A little while ago, I went to parents' evening, which is a different story, which I don't really want to dwell on. Anyway, eventually, I got sorted with parents' evening, and I was able to see 2 of 3 teachers, and the 3rd teacher sent me a lovely sort of message breakdown type thing, because I was unable to see them as it was. And the other 2 were like, these kids are doing great. So, I said to my middle daughter, you had a very good parents' evening. So, you know the rules, darling. If you get a good parents' evening or a good school report, or you've done well in something, you can have a treat. So, you have a little think. You tell me what treat you want. Now, I say this all the time. Like I say, good parents' evening, good school report, get a treat. That has been the rule in my house since the dawn of time. And my children almost never take me up on it. Every now and then they do. Like my youngest daughter had a couple of like little gifts, and then she had like a couple of trips out, and she had a couple of other things, and like little things here and there. Colouring book was what she wanted, which I was a bit like, to go with all your other colouring books. Cool. So I didn't expect anything from me saying to my middle daughter, if there's anything you want to do, a little treat, a little trip out or something like that, anything you want to do, within reason, you let me know, we'll do it. And she went, I want to go to Burger King. And I went, the fuck? Not only was I shocked, surprised, and amazed that she'd given me an answer for one of the first times ever, it was the choice she'd come up with, because I was like, why the fuck do you want to go to Burger King for? She was like, I've never been. I was like, and? She's like, I've never been, so I want to go. Like, I don't understand what you mean. She's like, I've never been, and I want to go and see what sort of food they've got. And I was like, I respect that. If I'm honest, I'm with you. As it is, very busy lifestyle, 4 kids, a dog, 2 cats, etc. And with 4 children and all sorts of other things going on, you never get time to do things. It's just one of those, because you're too busy doing other stuff. We go sit, we go swimming, we go play foot golf and other golf, and we go out, we go to the park, and we go all over the shop. So it was one of those situations, not in a, you told me you wanted a treat and I just ignored you and did other stuff. It was, I'm going to bank that because right now we're busy. Enter the summer holidays, and I went, you know what? I'm going to take my middle daughter on an adventure. And we're going to go to Burger King. So the other day I was like, right, you guys, we were all at the same place at the same time, but we were in 2 cars. And I was like, right, you guys go and get in that car. Me and this guy, we're off in this car because we're off on an adventure. And the thing that I thoroughly enjoy about my middle daughter is, some of my children, if I said, we're off on an adventure, they would go, where are we going? I don't want to go on an adventure. Why isn't that person? Why are we going? Why is it just me and you? Why is not mummy coming? What's happening? I don't want to go. Is what some of my children would say. My middle daughter, I'm like, right, we're off on an adventure. Do you want to go on an adventure? She's like, hells yeah. jumped in the car. I'm like, and that is why I like you. So off we toddle. We go. We get parked up. I take her in. I went, right, darling, we are finally here in Burger King. I have looked at the menu, and I asked you earlier in a very sneaky way if you like these ingredients, and you said no. I said, so your options basically are you can get some chips and, here for the irony, some halloumi fries. I was like, because you don't like the things on the burgers. And she said, I want a burger. Right. Okay. Why? Because I want a burger. I was like, okay. I was like, there might be an option to say that you don't want the things that you said you don't like, so I can look into that. But are you sure? She was like, yeah. She was like, I could get some chips, but I want the burger. I was like, well, if you get it as a meal, it comes with chips. So she's like, then I'm doing that. I was like, right, fine, whatever. I ordered because obviously vegetarian. So you get the vegan option. So I ordered her a vegan burger meal. So it came with chips and a drink. She picked a juice and she was happy that it came with chips and she got this burger. 11 quid. I added nothing extra to it. I ordered a vegan burger, a portion of fries, a small portion of fries. Nothing. In fact, I told them to not put any mayo, so they were saving money. And a carton of juicy water, which I thought was very interesting on an advertising scale. Juicy water. So a carton of water with a splash of juice in it. Cool. 11 quid. I was like, the fuck is going on with this fast food bullshit pricing? £11. Fuck off. So we stood and we queued, which is a delight in itself. When that particular Burger King opened, me, Leanne, and the little guys went to get food, and in the end I was like, I'm not getting any food here, fuck this noise. They got food, and one of the items that was bought as part of the food they got was given to the dog when we got home because it looked so fucking disgusting. There was like, nobody wanted to eat it. I was like, look, when we get back, just take all the extra stuff off it and give it to the dog. He'll appreciate it. Even he didn't want to eat it. Which can only remind me of a Bill Hicks joke. So I was like, I am not eating this shit. So anyway, I'm pleased to say they seem to have improved things, because what came out reasonable sort of timescale. Bearing in mind we ordered a vegan meal, so they probably had to actually cook it, which I find hard to believe. What came out seemed to be fairly well presented and looked fine. And my daughter ate the fucking lot of it. Massive. They referred to them as patties, but they were essentially just chicken nugget, the corn nugget things, just giant in a bun. I said no mayo. They bobbed some lettuce on. She didn't eat the lettuce. So these two massive nuggets and a bread roll and then some chips. 11 quid. Oh, and a juice. But it wasn't a juice, it was a water with a bit of juice in. She had a fucking whale of a time. I felt like I needed to seek counselling. My bank account looked like it had been kicked in the stomach by a horse. And, yeah, there we go. Scratch one off. Next on the list is... what was the other thing she said she wanted to do? And I was like, who the fuck are you? She comes up with the most random things that I'm like, I mean, I'm on board. Let's do this. Today was the first day of the last, I think, 5 weeks where I didn't lose any weight. I actually put on 0.6 of a pound. The weight stuff is just doing my fucking nutting now. I'm proper, like, I think there is only one solution to this, but my body has adjusted to the food. So now my body has become my absolute own worst enemy because now it demands food at certain points of the day. And then it makes me go a little crazy. Just ever so slightly crazy. So, yeah, there's that. I think there's a fast coming. It's the simplest, it's the shortest version. I've got to get this. I need to lose. I think it's probably a couple of inches from the waistline because I'm absolutely obsessed with body fat percentage because I'm still in the obese area, and I'm absolutely obsessed with abs at the moment. And the only way to see your abs is to lose some fucking weight, fat boy. So that is that. I think I'm looking at next week. I can't really do it when I've got all the kids because, for want of a better way of putting it, you need the mental fuel and you need the physical fuel just to get through. So, yeah. Interesting fact, though. Weighed myself before my run, and I'd lost 3 pounds between yesterday and today because Sunday is a fasting day. And then I went for a run and didn't lose enough to even come in the same as last week. That was the problem. So that was that. And then came downstairs, had my creatine. So I had that. I had a coffee. And I think I had a protein shake because I'd had a run. And then later I went upstairs. And for fun, I was like, I wonder what I weigh now. I stepped on the scales and I'd put on 3 pounds. I was like, that is fucking mental, bro. So, yes, look forward to listening to me bitch, moan and complain about not eating for a week. That'll be fun. Took all the children to the coast today. Went over to Scarbados. As I kept saying to the kids, we weren't there for the weather because the weather in York was going to be shit today and the weather in Scarborough was going to be reasonably nice. So I was like, let's go to Scarborough, get some weather. It was nice enough. Something that me and Leanne keep banging heads on is, I'm like, let's go to the beach. And she goes, but it's so insanely expensive. And I'm like, the fuck are you on about? It's the beach. And we take pack-ups. Because half of the people that go don't want chips. So we take pack-ups. So we're saving money there. She's like, uh-huh. And just how many miles is it? It's like a 80-something mile round trip. Uh-huh. And that doesn't cost anything, right? Doesn't cost any fuel. It's like, yeah, maybe. All right. And then, I mean, I presume everyone's having an ice cream, yeah? Uh-huh. Everybody's having an ice cream. And you'll be wanting a coffee while you're there. Yeah, probably get a coffee while I'm there. Which I didn't. You're going to go in the arcades? Yeah, go in the arcades. With 3 children today. We're here with 3 children. So there was this thing about, like, her stance is it's so insanely expensive to do something that you think is cheap. My stance is, yeah, but it's just the beach. You go to the beach. I took the children to Scarborough today, and yeah, she's right. It is so fucking expensive. Spent 13 quid on ice cream. Yeah. Wasn't even a lot. Like, 2 of them were just like in a little cup. 13 quid on ice cream. If I'm honest, honestly, I didn't think it was that bad. I was like, I got them each an ice cream. It cost me £9. I was like, I can kind of live with that. I bought myself a big ice cream. It cost me 4 quid. So I was like, I'm kind of okay with that. Nobody got any chips because nobody apart from one person wanted any. So I saved money there. And then I got raped and pillaged in the arcades because all of the arcades have been converted to basically 2p machine arcades, which I get it, I do, but that's not why we're there. Yeah, I'll play a 2p machine, but I'm not there to win on a 2p machine, so I'm not going to just pump money into them. So ultimately, we don't bother. We're there for other stuff, and they didn't have any other stuff. So we were a bit like, okay. The kids like the claw machines where you win every time. And honestly, 3 quid for a teddy, sure. So when everyone needs one, and then, don't forget that there's somebody at home, so they need one as well. And pretty sure my eldest came home with 3 teddies today. Which, I mean, just the mentality of that alone is baffling. And there was a point where I couldn't get into my banking app. And I was panicking, like wildly panicking, because I was like, what if there's not enough money in the bank to pay for all the stuff that I'm paying for right now? Because, oh my God, I went into a shop to see about getting a gift for Leanne to bring home. And I walked out of that shop £20 lighter. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, I got that shopping addiction under control. Not even that. It was literally, I went in to see if I could get like a little gift as a, hey, we went to Scarborough and we bought you this shit t-shirt kind of system. Wasn't that. It was, here, we went to Scarborough and we bought you some Cinder Toffee. £20 later, I'm like, for fuck's sake. There was a whole thing to do with t-shirts where I ended up buying t-shirts. It's just so much money. But I think it was a nice day. Anyway, let's talk about some sort of entertainment type things. Probably going to rattle through this because it's a long list and not all of it matters, which, yeah, seems a little strange, but we'll see. Me and Leon watched series 4, episode 4 of The Bear. Not a massive amount of stuff happened in episode 4. It was what you'd maybe consider filler, but it was, some of it was necessary for part of the story that's happening, so you could kind of see why they'd done it. But very much in the vein of a filler episode. Episode 5, on the other hand, a little bit more in the sort of stuff that we're kind of wanting to see. Because, spoilers by the way, the restaurant seems to have taken a bit of a turn, a bit of an upswing, and there is another element going on, kind of in the background, which seems to be, I've already predicted what I think is going to happen, largely in this series. Also, I predicted something else which came almost true. So I was a bit like, I think I've got this series dialed in. I think I know where this is going. So kind of that, really. In keeping with the theme of watching perfect movies, I watched John Wick for the bajillionth time. And my fucking God, that film is fucking perfect. Very much in the vein of Nobody, which I believe I think the rumour is that Nobody and John Wick are set in the same universe. Which, on one hand, is cool. On the other hand, there is a guy who's in both films, so probably have to ignore that bit, yeah. John Wick is perfect, and this might seem somewhat controversial, which is why anything that's come after it is a bit of an insult, if I'm honest. It really is a downwards trajectory with those films. I am kind of interested to see what they do with Ballerina, but I don't imagine it's going to be all that good. So, me and my eldest watched The Blues Brothers, which was a big thing for me. Obviously, Blues Brothers was released in the year of my birth, which means it's a 45-year-old film. And I honestly don't think it's shown its age at this point in time, especially if you get like a good... I think the copy that we were watching... Not copy we were watching, because I own it. But I own it digitally, so I imagine it's probably like a HD version of the film. It looks phenomenal. Yes, obviously it's set at a particular point in time. It's like set in the 80s, so you've got that side of things, but it's such a good film. She thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, I can tick off one of the films on the list of these are films you need to see from my perspective. So I feel like I've done a good parent thing. Speaking of good parent things, put Uncle Buck on for the children to watch. Which initially I was like, this is great. This is a great family movie. Yeah, I was obviously thinking of a different Uncle Buck. Definitely not a family-friendly movie. Turns out, a little bit higher rating than I thought it had. Got so far in, something was said and I went, not sure this is super suitable. I'm like, this was a family film. You sat down with your family when we were kids to watch Uncle Buck. This is a kids film. A few minutes later, something was said. I was like, this is not a children's film. What the fuck? Double checked the age rating and went, oh, it's got quite a bit higher rating than I thought it had. Okay, well, they don't seem to be super affected by things that have been said. I think it's probably gone over their head a little bit. And then they said something and I went, we're going to turn this film off now. And nobody complained all that much. I do largely think it was all going over their heads. However, it wasn't going over my eldest's head. And I think she was a bit like, should we all be watching this or should I be watching this? And I was a bit like, yeah, I'm going to turn it off. Me and my eldest last night went and took ourselves off to the IMAX to watch what is being dubbed as Superman 2025, if that's how you want to do it. Superman 2025 has had largely fantastic reviews. However, I believe the review machine, and I'm not going to get into the conspiracy theory around that, is still trying desperately to bring this film down. However, I think it has largely failed at this point. The reviews are out and the reviews are good. And I mean like really good. So, with that in hand, I listened to quite a detailed, in-depth, almost spoiler-free, although still kind of spoiled bits, review literally half an hour before going. I was listening to a podcast. They did this in-depth review, and I was like, I trust you guys to steer me in the right direction, and you both think it's fantastic. So here we go. Paid the eye-watering amount to take my eldest so we could go IMAX, and yeah, absolutely, do it if you can. What was my takeaway? Well, I think in the future I will do a thing where that'll be called one-line reviews. You can review a movie in the first sentence, and that's it. That's all you're allowed. Here's my one-sentence review of Superman. Say what you will about that film. I don't remember the last time I smiled so much watching a movie. Now, that is actually not true. As I said to my eldest last night, I was going to say that, but honestly, I watched Nobody a couple of weeks ago and smiled all the way through it because that film is just... Superman 2025 is also a chef's kiss of a movie. It is genuinely great. Superman, I was not on board for. David Cornsweet, I'm sorry, mate, but I've never heard of you until you were announced as Superman, and I went, you can quite frankly go fuck yourself, bring back Henry Cavill. I still kind of feel that way in some ways, but goddamn, he did a really good job. As a production of Superman, the Clark Kent versus Superman, they could be different people. They have done such a phenomenal job of they could be two different people. Again, chef's kiss. Let's get into something I didn't like, because I'm going to go on a lot about the stuff I did like. There was this relationship thing with Superman and Lois, where Lois was like, oh, I don't really know about this guy. Maybe I'll get rid of him. And I was like, nah, mate. In all versions of the story, Lois is absolutely smitten with Superman. I get, try and do different things. One of the things that was really nice about this was we didn't get baby goes into a spaceship. We got, he's Superman and has been Superman for a while. Deal with it. And I went, I've dealt with it. Let's go. I heard a review that said Nicholas Hoult might be, in fact, they didn't say might be, they said absolutely is the best Lex Luthor. We need to retire Gene Hackman's jersey and say that Nicholas Hoult is the best Lex Luthor. Personally, obviously, Gene Hackman all day, every day. And for me, on a personal level, Michael Rosenbaum. But, yeah, Nicholas Hoult played Lex Luthor to the level of he is full-blown evil villain. Like, there are points where you're like, come on, dude, give it a rest. Kind of evil villain. Nathan Fillion, just as always, perfection, especially as Guy Gardner, just perfect. The guy, Mr. Terrific, was terrific. I think there are talks about what to do with him and his character going forward, and I am all for it. He was great. The woman they had playing Lois, yeah, perfectly fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with that casting. Honestly, one of the things that both me and my eldest said was that there was enough going on to keep you interested, but not too much going on that you felt like you were being punched in the brain. I also went on to say that I'm a huge fan of Man of Steel. I really like that film, but it does feel like at points you are just being punched in the brain. My brain cannot keep up with that film and has never been able to. So it's a bit of one of those where I'm like, it was nice to not have to feel like you've been punched in the brain. There is a guy who plays Metamorpho, who I read an interview with recently, who I think he'd been told at one point in time that he should give up acting, and then he landed a role. I believe he was in the TV series Barry, and I think he did very well in it. It's because he's got alopecia, and he's Metamorpho in this and was fantastic. This is a no spoiler here, so I'm going to navigate around it. But what I will say is this: there was an element which I'd heard on this podcast listen to, where they said about the man under the mask, and they were all for it. I was not. When they revealed the man under the mask, shall we say, I went, oh, for fuck's sake, really? We're doing this? It didn't last a massive amount of time, and I was kind of glad, and we kind of moved on with our lives. Crypto being annoying was a little annoying. It served its purpose in places, but I was also a bit like, I mean, if you think about other incarnations of Crypto, like he is super, pun intended, super loyal, super obedient a lot of the time. And obviously that wasn't the case in this one. It is absolutely fantastic. You should go and see it on the biggest screen you are able to. And honestly, from my personal opinion, being a Superman fan going all the way back to the original Christopher Reeve, one of my favourite films, it's great. It's recently been reviewed as the third best Superman film. I think I would have to seriously think about how to categorise, but I will say this, it's definitely going to be up at the top of the list. I know there are people out there saying that they think it's the best Superman film. I don't know. I don't know where it's going to come in on my list. You are going to be hard pushed to get something that's going to topple the original Superman for me. It's just how I feel about that film. So, yeah. Go and see it. It's fucking great. There you go. There's a short enough review for you. Me and my eldest had a conversation about doing a full-blown review of it as a podcast special. I don't know if that's going to ever materialise, but I'll keep the powder dry just in case. Computer games. Quickly on computer games, I think. I'm playing Assassin's Creed Shadows, a game that initially I was like, I am not sure I'm on board with this game. And a friend of mine said, stick with it and upgrade. And I said, okay. So I stuck with it. I hit a point in the game where if you do a series of things, you can upgrade every time you do it. If you go after like these certain enemies, if you kill one, you get an upgrade point. I ended up in this thing where I killed all these guys and then all of the rest of them turned up at the place I was. So I ended up killing all of them. And then when I checked, I had like 20 upgrade points and was like, cool. And I just spent all of them and basically got like almost fully upgraded for one of my characters. And I upgraded their like weapons and armor and stuff. And my friend was right. Once you start getting upgrades, you start unlocking a lot of the map and the mission stuff. It just goes on and on and on, which is kind of a detractor in some ways. It does just seem to be going on and on and on with the, oh, now you've got this element and now there's this element. Oh, where do you go and look at these enemies and what about these guys? It just keeps doing that X number of hours in. Still playing it, still really enjoying it. I feel like I'm really kind of pleased that this game has gone this way because I know for a fact that it could have so easily gone a different way. As I mentioned earlier, my other game at the moment is Elden Ring. Reached a point in my playthrough on my where I was following the video walkthrough where the video guy was like, and now we are ready to start the game. And I went, I'm not ready to start the game. And he was like, right, we're going to go here. I was like, okay. I was like, maybe I'll just watch the video and see what's coming to see how I feel about it. He's like, we're going to go to this castle. We're going to beat all these enemies. And I was like, I think I could probably handle that. He's like, once we've been to this castle, we're going to go and turn the quest in from the stuff you pick up in the castle. I was like, okay, I think I can do that. He's like, and then we're going to go fight this boss. And I went, sorry, what? And he did, and he went and fought a boss. And I was like, okay, that doesn't look terrible. Like, he was like, oh, you summon your wolves here, and the wolves will do a lot of the work for you, and they just distract him, and then you just hit him in the back. I was like, I could maybe give that a go. Think I could maybe try that. And he's like, right, and now we're going to go and do this. I was like, okay, I'm with you, bro. He's like, right, now we're going to go fight a dragon. And I went, I don't think I can do that. And then he showed me on the video how to fight a dragon, and I went, yeah, I'm never going to be able to do that. So I made a decision, and it may not be the decision you were expecting. I've decided to leave the video walkthrough where it is. And I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to go to the castle, the first castle bit, and I'm going to go and try and fight those enemies and see how I do. Two, I'm going to go and farm some souls and try and level up as much as I can before trying any more of the video walkthrough. I think for me, personally as a game player, and personally being not very good at any games, let alone Souls-like games, this might be the best idea. And I will say this, in the video walkthrough, he said the same thing. He was like, go and farm some souls, level up, and then let's do the next bit. And I was like, okay, well, you said. Into the Radius 2 has taken a little bit of a back seat. I've kind of dialed back from playing it. A couple of reasons. No time. Having all the kids. And the mods are not returning at the rate they had done previously, which means the game is not overly modded. It's modded enough to make it playable, but not fully modded, which I think I've been a little bit spoilt by at this point. So I've kind of been, in a way, glad to put it on the back burner to say, I'm going to go and sit and play Assassin's Creed, or I might have a look at Elden Ring and do a little bit more of the video, or I don't have the time this evening. In a way, it's kind of been nice to have that as a thing. So I'm kind of in no real rush. So yeah, there we go. That is the podcast. A little bit of a long one this week. So, apologies. But yes, that is that. And I'll catch you next time. There we go. What do you think to that? A long one, but hopefully a good one. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe you regret your decisions. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Before you leave us, if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. If you have, get someone else to do it. Share the love. Check out the website if you haven't done that one either, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button for you to get in touch with us. Right, that's it. That's all we've got today. That's enough from me. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
You've just listened to another episode of Cookie Cast. Thanks for listening.